Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Coming up is my sample card on the left, which is more of like a feminine baby version. And the card we're making today is that one right there, which we're using Balmy Blue in for an infant birthday card, first year birthday or whatnot, made with the special someone and special day dies. And also during this video, I'm going to show you real close. That is petal pink, and see where the Memento Tuxedo Black ink is. I have no ink smearing, and I have a very, like I'm pointing out right there, and I have a very simple hack to show you how to do that so you can do the same when you're making your projects and doing Stampin' Blends. So we have an A2 top folding 4¼ by 5½ down, and that was petal pink. Today's colors are going to be Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Whisper White, again with that special someone stamp set that carried over from spring of this year. And I only started out with a die cut, to tell you the truth, or the die cuts, because I wanted that grass over there on the left hand side. So Stampin' Blends, we have Balmy Blue, Smoky Slate, and the light Basic Black marker. The light basic black Stampin' Blends. You also can use the marker. So the inks are Memento Tuxedo Black, Smoky Slate, Balmy Blue, and I have 3 pieces of like black twine there. And how I got that was taking the Playful Pets twine that we have, and see me twist and turn that and unravel it. I just pulled it apart, which is not going to be in the video, but I figured that was easy enough to tell you what to do because we've done that before. So again, our cardstock is going to be the top folding, just like the sample card, Balmy Blue. Measurements, everything will be over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. But first off, I took my measurements down by 1/4 inch and by 1/8 of an inch. And that piece of designer series paper, that little argyle piece, is from Magic in This Night, which is our Halloween DSP. And I'm going to sneak in our little sentiment panel behind there. As you can see, that is thick Whisper White, and you want to cut that square. Mine is 4 by 4. So that way we can get our balloons down. And so to get started, I am going to bring in the Stamparatus and the balloon image, the line art balloon image from Special Someone, and I'm going to place that down on the left corner, starting with that. And I did slow down this video a little bit because some speeds are, a lot too high, just to give you that gist of what I'm doing. So zoomed in, Balmy Blue, and I'm just going to rotate that 90 degrees every single time until I get all 4¼ down with the Balmy Blue ink. And that is what we are looking like so far. And I'm cleaning that off. Leave that stamp inside the door of your Stamparatus because that's where my trick is. So lay that down first with Balmy Blue, and I'm bringing in the dark in light Stampin' Blends markers, the alcohol ones that we have, and I'm going over that on the left hand side with the dark. I started out with that color first, and then I'm bringing in the light, and I'm just going to fill in the rest of the balloon with that. As you can see, I'm really not touching the edges again, and then I'm pulling more color up from the dark towards the middle of the balloon there to give myself that blending effect, that ombre effect. And my phone's getting like text bomb, and I'm really hoping that everything that's flying across my screen you're not going to see from who, because yeah. So more coloring, and I'm going to show you how I did all 4 balloons here. And realistically, I only need 3, but I did 4 because I do have a propensity sometimes, to blow it a little bit. And I ended up choosing my best 3. But this is just kind of show you how I blend things out and whatnot. And you do not have to go back to or re-stamp the basic black on that if you don't want to. If you want to go for a faux no line look, which I've done a video on that before in the spring using Parisian something or another. I'll try and link it if I remember it. But if not, just go through my videos. I have less than 200, and you know, it was a couple months ago. So I have all that colored in now, and I want that really nice blend because I know when I'm going to bring back in the Stamparatus and restamp everything out, I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black this time around, and I know exactly where that is going to, where the ink is going to hit on the cardstock, because I did leave it in there in the exact same place, and that's what we're looking like. So you can see where I have like a great blend, but since basic black is part of the colors I have in this card, to me it was really important to just bring this image in, stamping that black on top, and then not having to worry about the smearing. Despite heat setting everything, that risk is still there unless you decide to clear emboss with, well, unless you stamp it down with black and then take clear embossing powder, sprinkle it over, and then heat emboss that way. So that is what we were looking like, and I'm a little bit behind on the voiceover. So now I'm going to be bringing in that squirrel, no, raccoon image you see kind of towards the very bottom right there. And I'm going to size that up like the best place to put it in there, and that's why I cut it to 4x4 too, because I wanted to get all my images down. I'm going to color on thick whisper white cardstock. So I inked up the raccoon in smoky slate, just laid it down one time, and now I'm going to be bringing in our light basic black marker, and I'm going to be using that to, yeah, light, to fill in the eyes, and I'm using the blunt tip of it, not the brush tip. And I went a little bit too big, but you know, it did work out, because normally I just would like dotted it there. So now we have the smoky slate Stampin' Blends. I'm using the dark, and I'm going to fill in inside the ears, that little forehead part there, a little bit of the nose, and then I'm going to go around, well, for lack of a better term, body parts, so to speak. And the outside and the inside of the image, I want to be able to define the face, the arms, the body, and it's going to look really, really bad as you see me do this. But as I come in and blend everything out, and I do know with this stamp too, I also left the image on the Stamparatus store, so that way I can go back in and ink it up with Memento Tuxedo Black, which is darker than the smoky slate, and is really going to redefine that image, and then bring out my colors with a Stampin' Blends like you would not believe. Even though, like I said, it looks like a hot mess, it does work out, and I'm just going to keep pulling out that color a little bit, but trying to get it down, because alcohol markers, the ink, it stays wet like a little bit longer than, it stays wet kind of like Versamark does, but you don't want to push it too much and not have that blending power that you do. And you can see my marker nub there. That's why I keep like rotating the image a little bit, or not the image, but the marker. And when I'm building up the color, I'm still using the light and going up, as you can see there, but I still have that nice ombre effect too. And that is how easy these markers are to use, and you'll be a pro at them in no time at all. So now I'm going to ink up our raccoon image with Memento Tuxedo Black real well, and then give that another impression. And I'm a teeny tiny bit off, as you can tell, but it paid off in the long run, as you can see around the eyes and the forehead with that little smoky slate mask. So yeah, I'm good with that. And a better look of the balloons that we colored together. And we are going to move on. So it's been another one of those weeks, and we're going to be die cutting out the grass. The special day dies come with 2 balloons, or balloon die cuts, and then like the 2 hard die cuts, and there's a couple other ones in here too that have double die cuts. It's easy to go ahead and cut out. So I'm going to be lining them up with a new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Yeah, skip intro. which is available to you, by the way, coming up on Monday, along with a magnetic base plate, and you are going to want to get that. So I'm going to be taking our images off screen to go ahead and die cut out the other two balloons, but in the meantime, I'm going to show you what they look like. And if I didn't mention this before, because it's taken me 3 days to film this video and another, few hours, a lot of breaks to do the voiceover, you don't have to use a black ink. You can restamp with it with a gray or with a balmy blue for like a faux no line coloring image. And again, that piece of cardstock right there, regular Whisper White, you saw how I lined the die up at the very top, and that is 4¼ across by 2¼ down. And I ended up with probably like, maybe a little bit over 2⅛, or around there for the top. But that sentiment panel there, which is what we're going to be stamping our sentiment on, it worked out great. So I'm bringing in our little 1/2" piece, I guess a second skip intro of Magic in the Night DSP. And it got kind of gooey on the top a little bit, so I took my sand eraser and took that off. And now we're going to go ahead and lay down the sentiment in Memento Tuxedo Black. And we've talked about me stamping over towards the right with clear stamps before, how I prefer to keep it in the middle. So the magnet's going over on the left, the purple tape is going over on the right, just to keep that down as I pick up our clear stamps, because they can be a little bit sticky on the paper. Grab the lid off the Stamparatus just to make sure that everything was straight, wasn't quite feeling it or not sure. Brought in a piece of our grid paper, inked it up real quick, saw it was straight, and now I'm going to go ahead and put that down on our sentiment panel, clean that up over there, and then pull in our second, or the second part of the sentiment. That can either go like inside or whatever. I chose to put it outside this time around because on the inside, I just simply have like a happy birthday. Same piece of paper, it worked out. Going to re-ink, lay that down, and there is our sentiment panel. And I did that one twice because you know how I like my crisp sentiments, but when you get this stamp set and the coordinating dies, there are so many things that you can do with this, no matter what kind of skill level you think you have. It's always way better than you think you have, because that's just how it is. We're like our own worst enemy a lot of the time. So basic black, that is cut down to 4 across by 5¼ down, and I went ahead and put our Stampin' Seal Plus on the back, which is my preferred adhesive for like the tape runner kind. That regular Whisper White is cut down to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and that's going to get layered on top of the basic black. When I do cards, really simple. I mentioned this in Thursday's blog post. I like to mat up just a little bit to give it more interest, and I did here. So I'm peeling off the bones, like the outer edges of the Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm putting that at the very bottom because our sentiment panel is going to go on Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm using both the mini and the regular size ones. I mean, they both come in handy. That way I'm not cutting them all up or gunking my scissors or anything like that. And yeah, I laid them down kind of a wonky way, but it did work out. So I'm going to be putting our card back in the Stamparatus using that L on the left-hand side to get our sentiment panel down, lined up correctly. I had a little issue right there because I wasn't sure if I was going to use that glued out or not. Not glued out, but dimensional, but I did, and it worked out. And there you can see what I'm talking about as far as building it back up, or the card back up. I'm going to take in a couple more mini Stampin' Dimensionals and put them up towards the right of, not the right, just towards the raccoon head there, by the ears. And I do know that a good half of it is going to be glued down on top of our sentiment panel that's already on dimensionals, and this way my layers are layered the right way. So there's our liquid adhesive. I'm putting that down. And then I'm just going to gently rub it to get it all set up. So right now I'm bringing in a glue dot from a paper pumpkin kit, and I'm pulling in our little twine there. I'm tying a knot at the very bottom and then snip off the ends so everything is straight. And I'm going to put that knot right where you saw me put the glue dot and lay that over there. Then I'm going to separate our twine out a little bit, a lot. Well, maybe so in a minute. On each of the balloons, I'm going to put a mini Stampin' dimensional at the bottom there, and then a regular size at the top. And you can see my color going through our thick Whisper White cardstock. So when you color with Stampin' Dimensionals, or I'm sorry, our blends, you want to use thick Whisper White. It can be done on the regular. You just got to be real careful about it. This way, not so careful. So that is what our balloons are looking like. And now I'm going, this is what I'm talking about, bringing back in the Stamparatus, separating out our strings there, and we are going to get the balloons adhered down. So while you're watching me get down our balloons, if you go to my blog at cindybdesigns.com, there's, for today's post, which is Thursday, I think the 27th, you can see, okay, I had to get back the card. You can see how I'm cutting off and laying down the Stampin' Dimensionals on top of the twine. Anyways, there is more of like a juvenile card that I made over there using the plaid cardstock in the holiday catalog, which is completely different from this, but it's a nice card that I gave to my, little cousin who just turned 7. So I'm getting down our balloons there, just picking it up on a small Stampin' Dimensional or the mini, cutting it off, halfway through the regular size one, and then laying it down. So that dimensional's two purposes: to keep the thread in place and to adhere to the card. So I die cut at that little teeny tiny bow from Balmy Blue cardstock. Grab another glue dot. I'm going to put that on top of the knot from our string and then layer on our bow from there. So as you can see, these are super easy cards to make. They're cute as can be. Some great hacks in there that I hope that you try for the faux no-line coloring or watercoloring, or just keeping your black images crisp no matter what. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to get like and subscribe. And if you need anything, please let me know or have any questions. I'm always available to you. And I will see you again next week with some more projects that you can easily make yourself. And have a fantastic weekend. And please stay safe from the California fires.